Fuck no, I just got super nervous. Alright guys, it's been a while since I did my last product review, and I have all these things in storage, so I thought it'd be nice to sort of revisit some classic gear that made me a lot of money, got me through a lot of jobs, and just sort of like for my and your sake, if you're out there and contemplating one of these oldies but goodies, to know my feelings after using it a ton over the course of the past years. I feel so old now. I'm like 74, can you believe that? Asian though. All right, I have actually not opened this box in like 2 or 3 years, so this is going to be kind of an unboxing. I don't remember what this thing looked like, what it included, but today, let's go ahead and take a look at the Tascam Dr680. It is a recorder, and let's see what's in this guy right here. Okay, so we had manuals. I believe right now they're up to the Dr680 Mark II. Amongst other things, Zoom has a line of recorders. I actually upgraded to the Zoom F8, and they have a second generation model of that as well. But as far as the Dr680, and you guys can comment down below, the 680 versus the 680 Mark II, I'm not sure if they changed the preamps at all. Other than that, I don't see a huge difference between the two models, but you can correct me if I'm wrong. All right, so we have power cables, more box stuff, and there it is. Wow. I was so proud when I finally was able to afford this monitor, because I came from, you know, these little handhelds. My very first recorder I bought was like 40 or 50 bucks. It was the Zoom H2. I did many interviews on that. Finally upgraded, and between choosing the Zoom H4n, I believe, I actually went with Tascam and stuck with them for a little while with the Dr-40. And so I started doing a lot of like live event coverage, and you know, there was always a guy on the board, and they have so many inputs. You know, the band we were covering, you know, there were 3 vocal mics, there was a guitar, drum, and bass. So you only have 2 inputs here. So my first multi-channel recorder was this 680, which I will reveal now. And this is the first time I'm touching it in years. Look how nice I kept this thing, not a scratch in sight. All right, so this is the Dr680. Still have my label. You gotta label all your shit, because stuff can go missing. So this is a 6-channel recorder. You have 4 XLR/TRS inputs, 1/4 inch over here, and then 2 1/4 inch here for an additional 2 channels. The preamps on this were an upgrade over this small little guy, and you had a lot more controls. You can, you know, everything has line and mic, phantom power on channels 1 through 6, an easy scrolly menu button. These buttons are nice and clicky. Even though it feels plasticky, the whole thing is basically plastic. Right here, yeah, it's all basically plastic. It held up really well. I always kept it in a case, which I have back there, but it never let me down. One of the things I did do though was went ahead and bought a snake, so we can get even more mics input into this. So you can actually get a total of 8 channels here. So how this works is, hopefully, what connection is this? It's the DB, I believe it's a DB25. Let's pause for a second and let me double check. Okay. Correctly, how do I use, I don't even remember how I use it. Ah, okay. Okay, and we're back. Okay, so I'm sorry, I said you can actually get 8 channels. No, it is limited to 6, but the snake I did use was the DB25 to TRS cables. So on your mixer board, hopefully if they have a DB25 out, you can get this out there and put in 6 channels into here, which is a little bit easier than having, you know, a straight XLR to XLR connection. But yeah, so we got 6 channels and we did a lot, and it's a huge difference from getting a stereo mix for obvious reasons and getting individual mono signals. from the board, so you can hopefully you have a good sound engineer or someone that can mix and master for you. But this was like the my initial foray into higher audio, you know, past your typical handheld recorder. And I loved it for very, very long. I don't remember how many batteries it takes. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 8 AA batteries. And it lasts, I'd say record time is you're at least good for an hour and a half from my memory. And while I put this battery in there, I'm gonna ask the people, my good producer and team members off camera, if they have any questions about what this guy does. This is not scripted. I don't have a teleprompter in front of me, but I did want to share with you guys that I was very proud of this recorder, and something like this, honestly, you can check, I'll put a link down below. We did a preamp challenge a while ago between the Zoom F8, which is considered to have pretty clean preamps, especially for its price point. And compared to the Dr680, I think, you know, the gain difference between the two is a little bit noticeable, but I wouldn't say that the preamps on this are noisy at all. I mean, we got some pretty good mixes. I don't even remember how to turn this on. All right, how the hell do you do this?
There's gotta be a power button somewhere.
Oh, there we go. I think, oh, O-N, is that on? Okay, so you hold that. Here's the screen. I don't know, can you see the screen?
Yeah.
But yeah, if you've used any Tascam recorders, the menu should be way familiar to you. Like I said, you have input control for all of these. I'd say the biggest issue is you basically have one knob. So you're constantly scrolling to the channel and adjusting. So there's no real way you can kind of mix and control levels on the fly. It's certainly not built for that. But if you do want to step up from a 2-channel, you can probably find these. When I first bought it, I bought this guy actually used for like 550 bucks. You could probably get it for under 300 now. I think it's still a good deal because I don't see a huge difference between this and the Mark II. And you know, if the Zoom F8 or sound devices are kind of out of your price range, this is a good, good next step. Any questions? I'm struggling to fill up time.
So like what sort of situations do you use this one in?
So the reason, okay, so a lot of videographers when they start off, you're gonna have this in your backpack, right? And you can stick your lav or whatever your audio source is in here, okay? But once again, you only have 2 inputs over here. So if you're gonna go to a live event, especially if it's a band, or if you're gonna have more than 2 guests that you're gonna, like if it's a roundtable discussion, you're gonna need multiple inputs, right? So hopefully you get to a point in time, eventually we would just hire a sound guy and he'd come with this roller suitcase full of stuff I don't know. And he would take care of everything for us. He'd even like process and sort of like EQ on the fly. So the main thing is when you come up to a larger model like this, it usually means it's going to have better preamps, and by that I mean the source is going to sound cleaner, and your microphones you can increase the gain higher without introducing noise, which is for audio, the cleaner the source, the better. So when you upgrade from a little handheld to this, typically you are going to get more input channels for more audio sources, and you're going to get a cleaner signal. And you know, a lot of this is like band stuff, you know, so like I said, you know, I have 6 channels here, right? So we take the DB25 from the board, and usually they had 6 or more. Actually, they usually had like 8 channels. That's why I upgraded. But with at least 6 channels, think about this. I can get the lead singer. I can get the 2 backup vocals. That's 3 inputs so far. I can get the bass signal. I can get the lead guitar, and I can get one of the drum mics. Usually they'll have an array, but I can at least get one of them, you know, and then maybe in the field, I'll leave this pointed at the crowd if it's a live event to, you know, get the ambient noise to mix it in. But that's the main thing, is you're getting a cleaner signal with these input recorders. So some of the improvements that I liked about the Zoom F8 was there's only one SD card slot here. And I'm a big fan of dual recording everything, always having a backup. So I like that the Zoom F8 has 2 recorders, and you can relay it, but you can also dual record at the same time to have a backup. The other thing that I liked about the Zoom F8 was naturally built in is a safety track. So you can choose, like on track 1, to have it gain set however you like it. And then you can set the second track to record whatever dB lower. So you have your first channel set great, and your second channel maybe minus 12 dB lower. And it's a safety track. That way, if for some reason the band goes crazy, someone on the board, cranks up the gain, for whatever reason, you have a safety there. And I think that's important. And I believe the Dr680, and you can look at the stats. I don't want to be like a stat guy for you. You can look at all the specs online, but with this or with this, I would usually just run a split, and then so I take the XLR from one mic, split it into the second channel, and just manually set the second input at a lower decibel for my safety track. So it's nice to have that built into the Zoom F8.
So the output of it, is it any difference with a Zoom Zoom 8?
Yeah, so like I said, the Zoom F8 definitely has cleaner preamps, which means it'll be a cleaner, higher quality resulting audio. But let's face it, there's so many generations of compression that goes on, right? You import all this audio into your NLE, you export it, and you bring it up to YouTube. Are you really gonna hear the difference? I'm not sure. Is that difference worth that $1,000? Or if you jump up to a sound device, is an extra $2,000 or $3,000? I'm not so sure. I firmly believe that I could have made do for another 2 or 3 years. Actually, I could still use this thing today and still get quality work. So does it make a big difference? I don't know. It depends how you're like publishing and releasing your content. But if you want the best stuff, there's better stuff out there. You just got to pay for it.
Are there any negatives about it?
Yeah, so the negatives is, like I said, so some of the negatives are, once again, you're limited to the 6 channel here. And if you notice, it's not even 6 XLR inputs. It's 4 XLR or 6, is this 1/8 or 1/4 inch? I'm not a sound guy, so I might have gotten that wrong. You can fact check me later. As far as like TRS connections, you have 6, but XLR, it's only 4. And, sometimes, XLR is the universal stuff. So it's better to just have all, like the Zoom F8, you've got 4 XLRs on each side for a total of 8. So that's nicer to have. Once again, this is a 1 knob design on the F8, and you can see a bigger comparison in that link below on the preamp challenge between the F8, the Zoom F8, and the Tascam Dr680. But they have individual knobs per channel, so it's a little easier to adjust things instead of clicking, changing channels, scrolling. You've got basically one interface over here, and it's this little knob, which is nice and clicky, and it's never failed. And you've got buttons to change from 1 through 6 or the mix. That's it, Other than that, like I love the screen's fine, it held up. The headphone preamps, not the greatest, but neither are the Zoom F8 preamps on the headphones. But I can't think of much more else other than it's just there's better stuff out there, and sometimes you just want to upgrade. And I wanted the extra 2 channels and the cleaner preamps. Yeah, so hopefully, I know that this Tascam recorder has been out for years, but this meant a lot to me because I finally saved up enough money to upgrade from this little guy, which also still surprisingly comes in handy. So I don't think I'll ever get rid of this. It's nice for traveling. But this was my first step up in the audio world and got me on this whole pathway. I loved video, but this was around the time where I realized, hey, audio is just as or more important. So thanks for strolling down memory lane with me. I plan on taking a look at some old stuff because I'm a pack rat and I like to hold on to shit for way too long. So we'll explore some of my experiences with other stuff that I've enjoyed using in the past. Thank you for watching. Let me know what you think of this video. Like, subscribe, or don't. I really don't care. I do, but I don't. But I do hope you're having a decent day. Thanks for watching.